The rain hammered against the floor-to-ceiling windows of our Seattle loft like it was trying to break in, mirroring the storm raging inside me as I watched Zachary collapse onto the couch, his body shaking not from the cold, but from the sobs he could no longer hold back. His phone lay shattered on the hardwood floor, the screen cracked like the fragile trust between us, displaying the final message from Dad. "I'm done pretending. You're not my son anymore." In that instant, as lightning cracked the sky and illuminated the tears carving paths down his freckled cheeks, I knew I had to cross a line I had drawn in my own blood years ago, because loving him as my little brother was no longer enough to save us both. Elias Thorne had always been the steady one, the older brother who fixed things. At 30, I had built a life in this rainy city that felt like a fortress, a graphic design job at a boutique firm downtown, a cramped but cozy apartment overlooking Elliott Bay, and a routine that kept the ghosts of our fractured family at bay. Seattle suited me, with its perpetual gray skies and hidden pockets of warmth in coffee shops and craft breweries, where you could lose yourself in the hum of strangers and pretend your heart wasn't a battlefield. But Zachary, my little brother by 5 years, had always been the wildfire, the one who burned bright and left ashes in his wake. He had moved in with me 6 months ago, fresh out of community college in Tacoma, chasing dreams of becoming a barista with artistic ambitions, sketching in the margins of his notebooks when he thought I wasn't looking. That night, the storm had started innocently enough. We had planned a quiet Friday, the kind we had grown accustomed to. Takeout from that Thai place on Capitol Hill, a binge watch of some indie series about lost souls in the Pacific Northwest, and the easy laughter that came from sharing space without the weight of expectation. Zachary had been quieter lately, his hazel eyes shadowed by something he wouldn't name, but I chalked it up to the job hunt grinding him down. He had landed shifts at a hipster cafe in Fremont, slinging lattes to tech bros and influencers, but the tips barely covered his phone bill. I didn't mind. Having him here filled the hollow spaces in the apartment and me. When the call came, we were midway through an episode, the protagonist confessing a forbidden love that made my stomach twist in ways I refused to examine. Zachy's phone buzzed on the coffee table, and he glanced at it with that flicker of dread I had come to recognize. "It's Dad," he muttered, his voice barely above the rain. I nodded, pausing the show, knowing better than to intrude. Our father, Harlan Thorne, was a ghost from Montana, a rancher who had traded wide-open skies for the bottle after Mom left us for a life in Portland when Zachy was 10. He called sporadically, always with a slur in his voice and venom in his words, testing the waters of reconciliation that never came. This time, though, Zachary didn't answer. He let it ring out, then flipped the phone over as if that could silence the echo. "He's drunk again," he said, forcing a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Wants to know if I found a real job yet." As if pouring coffee isn't real. I reached over, squeezing his knee in that brotherly way, but my hand lingered a second too long, the warmth of his skin through his joggers sending a jolt up my arm. I pulled back, clearing my throat. "He's just projecting his own failures. You're doing great, kid." The second call came 10 minutes later, insistent, and Zachary groaned, snatching the phone. "What, Dad?" His tone was sharp, defensive, the armor he wore around Harlan. I busied myself with the remote. But the loft was too small for secrets. Every word carried. At first, it was the usual barbs, complaints about the ranch falling apart, how we had abandoned him, how Mom was probably laughing from her new life. But then Harlan's voice rose, slurred but cutting, accusing Zachary of lies, of hiding something shameful. "I saw the pictures, boy. You think I don't know what that flag on your backpack means? Parading around with those types. You're no son of mine." The phone slipped from Zachy's fingers, clattering to the floor. He stared at it, unblinking, as if the words had physically struck him. I froze, the room shrinking around us, the rain a deafening roar. Zachary had come out to me 2 years ago, in a whispered confession during a late-night drive back from a family funeral in Billings. I had held him then, not as a brother but as something more, though I buried it deep. To Dad, though, it was a betrayal, a stain on the Thorne name. And now, with that message flashing on the cracked screen, it was final. Zachy curled into himself on the couch, shoulders heaving, and I moved without thinking, wrapping my arms around him from behind. "Hey, breathe," I murmured into his hair, inhaling the familiar scent of his shampoo, citrus, and rain. He turned, burying his face in my chest, his tears soaking through my shirt. "Why does he hate me, Eli? What did I do?" His voice cracked, raw and childlike, pulling at the threads of my resolve. I rocked him gently, my hand stroking his back, feeling the knobs of his spine under the thin fabric of his tee. In that moment, with the city lights blurring through the rain-streaked glass, I felt it shift, the forbidden bloom of something deeper than protection. It wasn't just brotherly love. It was the ache of wanting to claim him, to shield him from the world, and keep him as mine. We stayed like that for what felt like hours, the episode forgotten, the storm raging on. Eventually, his sobs quieted to sniffles, and he pulled back, wiping his eyes with the hem of his shirt, exposing a sliver of toned midriff that made my throat dry. "Sorry," he mumbled, avoiding my gaze. "Didn't mean to fall apart." I shook my head, forcing lightness into my voice. "You're allowed, Zach. Always." He nodded, but the hurt lingered in the set of his jaw, the way his fingers twisted in his lap. I suggested we salvage the night, order that Thai food anyway, but Zachary shook his head, standing abruptly. "I need air. Walk with me." Seattle in a downpour wasn't ideal, but denying him felt wrong. We grabbed Hootie's Mean Black, the faded gray one that swallowed his frame, and stepped into the elevator, the descent mirroring the drop in my chest. Outside, the streets of Belltown glistened under street lamps, puddles reflecting neon signs from the bars and galleries. We walked in silence at first, shoulders brushing, the rain a steady patter on our hoods. Zachy led us toward the waterfront, where the Olympic Mountains loomed like silent judges across the bay. He stopped at the edge of the pier, leaning on the railing, his profile sharp against the dark water. I thought telling him might. "I don't know, make it real. Accept it." His words hung heavy, laced with the vulnerability he rarely showed. I stood beside him, close enough to feel his heat. "Dad's a coward, Zach. That's on him, not you." He turned, his hazel eyes searching mine, raindrops clinging to his lashes like tears. "You're not, though? You've always had my back." The words hit like a wave, and I swallowed hard, the line between us blurring in the wet night. "I'd do anything for you," I said, the truth slipping out raw. His lips parted, a soft exhale, and for a heartbeat, I thought he might lean in, bridge the gap our blood demanded we maintain. But he just nodded, bumping my shoulder with his. "Love you, big bro." The casual endearment stung, a reminder of boundaries, and we turned back toward home, the unspoken hanging between us like fog. Back in the loft, dried off and in fresh clothes, we ate cold takeout on the floor, cross-legged like kids. Zachary sketched absent-mindedly on a napkin, his pencil strokes capturing the curve of a wave, the angle of my jaw when I laughed at his dumb joke about barista fails. Watching him, the light from the lamp casting golden halos on his curls, I felt the realization solidify. This wasn't fleeting. It was love, twisted and taboo, rooted in years of shared secrets and stolen glances. But voicing it, that would shatter us. As the night wore on, he crashed on the couch, claiming the bed was too big alone. I lay awake in my room, staring at the ceiling, the rain a lullaby that mocked my turmoil. Tomorrow, head wake with that bright smile, pretending the call hadn't happened, and I'd play along, the perfect brother. But deep down, the storm had broken something open, and there was no sealing it shut. The next morning dawned gray but drier, the city stirring with the rumble of ferries and distant traffic. I brewed coffee strong, the aroma filling the loft, a ritual to ground us. Zachary emerged rumpled, hair a mess, but with a determined glint. "I'm applying to that art program at the community center today," he announced, pouring a mug. No more hiding. Pride swelled in me, mixed with that ache. That's my guy. We spent the day wandering Fremont, the neighborhood alive with murals and vintage shops, the air crisp with fall. He dragged me into a record store, flipping through vinyls, his excitement infectious as he pulled out an old indie folk album. "This one's got that raw emotion, like what I felt last night." He held it up, eyes alight, and I nodded, buying it on impulse. Later, at the cafe where he worked, I sat in the corner nursing an espresso, watching him charm customers with his easy grin, the way his apron hugged his hips. Each laugh, each brush of his hand against some patron's arm, twisted the knife a little deeper. By evening, as we cooked pasta in the tiny kitchen, bumping elbows and trading stories from childhood Montana summers chasing fireflies, winters building forts from hay bales, I felt the pull intensify. He leaned against the counter, sauce on his cheek, and I reached out to wipe it, my thumb lingering on his skin. Time slowed, his breath hitching, eyes locking on mine. "Eli." The word was a whisper, charged, and I stepped back, heart pounding. "Food's ready." That night, sleep evaded me again. The realization wasn't a moment. It was a tide, pulling me under. Loving Zachary as more than a brother meant risking everything: our bond, our sanity, the fragile peace we had carved. But denying it? That was dying slowly. As the clock ticked past midnight, I heard him stir in the living room, padding to my door. "You up?" His silhouette filled the frame, vulnerable in boxers and tee. "Yeah, bad dream." He nodded, slipping in without asking, curling up beside me like when we were kids. His head on my pillow, breath warm on my neck. "Thanks for being here." I wrapped an arm around him, platonic on the surface, but my pulse thrummed with forbidden want. In the dark, with Seattle sleeping below, I held him, the line dissolving drop by drop. Weeks blurred into a rhythm that both soothed and tormented, the loft our sanctuary amid Seattle's ceaseless drizzle. Zachary threw himself into the art program, his sketches evolving from napkin doodles to vibrant charcoal portraits pinned on our walls, capturing the grit of street performers and the quiet longing in strangers' faces. I watched him flourish, my designs at work taking on a new edge inspired by his raw energy, but every shared glance, every accidental touch, fed the secret gnawing at me. We were brothers, bound by blood and loss. Yet in the quiet hours, I imagined a world where we weren't, where his hand in mine was a promise, not a sin. One crisp October afternoon, we hiked Discovery Park, the trails winding through old-growth forest to bluffs overlooking the Sound. Zachary led, his backpack slung low, filled with the sketchpad and sandwiches I had packed. The air smelled of salt and pine, leaves crunching under our boots, a rare break from the urban grind. He paused at a clearing, dropping to the grass, pulling out his pad. "Sit for me," he said, patting the spot beside him. I complied, the sun filtering through branches, warming my face. His pencil flew, capturing me in profile: the stubble on my jaw, the furrow in my brow. "You look thoughtful. What's eating you?" I hesitated, the truth too heavy. "Just work. Deadlines." A lie, but it bought time. He hummed, eyes flicking between Paige and me. "Liar. It's me, isn't it? The dad thing still hanging over us." His vulnerability cracked me open, and I reached for his hand, squeezing. "It's everything. You deserve better than this mess." He flipped the page, starting a new sketch off us, intertwined in the grass, innocent yet intimate. "We're not a mess, Eli. We're us." The words lingered as we ate, knees touching, the ocean a vast witness below. Back home, the high faded into routine. He picked up extra shifts, coming home exhausted, but buzzing with stories of quirky customers: a drag queen who tipped in glittery advice, a writer nursing black coffee and heartbreak. ID listened from the kitchen, stirring dinner. My response is automatic while my mind replayed the hike, the way his laughter echoed like freedom. One night, after a particularly grueling day at the firm, I found him on the balcony, smoking a rare cigarette, the city lights a constellation at his feet. "Bad day?" he asked, offering the pack. I took one, our fingers brushing, the spark igniting. We leaned on the railing, exhaling smoke into the night, shoulders pressed. "Tell me something real," he said suddenly, voice soft. I stared at the Space Needle glowing distant. "I hate how much I need you here. Makes me feel dependent." He turned, stubbing out his smoke. "Good. Because I need you too. More than anyone." His eyes held mine, searching, and I saw a flicker of awareness, the unspoken question. My heart raced, the air thick. I could lean in, taste the tobacco on his lips, claim what my body screamed for. But fear clamped down. Always Zach. I pulled him into a hug instead, his body fitting against mine like it belonged. The betrayal came subtly at first, a shadow in our light. I noticed the text late one night, his phone lighting up with a name I didn't know, Riley. A co-worker from the cafe, all easy charm and shared shifts. Zachary dismissed it with a grin. "Just a friend. He's helping me with a portfolio review." But the late nights grew, him slipping out after closing, returning with flushed cheeks and stories that skirted details. Jealousy coiled in my gut, irrational and sharp, because what right did I have? He wasn't mine. Yet each time he laughed at a message, my chest tightened, the love twisting into possession. I confronted it over breakfast one Sunday, pancakes stacked high, coffee steaming. "This Riley guy? You two seem close." Zachary paused, fork midway. "He's cool. Gay like me. Gets the whole coming out drama without pity." The casual admission stung. Why confide in a stranger when you have me? "Just be careful. Seattle's not always kind." He rolled his eyes, but affection softened it. "Protective much?" "It's nothing serious." "Nothing." The word echoed, hollowing me out. As fall deepened, the city wrapped in fog and fairy lights for early holidays, our dynamic shifted. He brought Riley home once, a lanky guy with tattoos and a quick wit, crashing on the couch after a gallery opening. I played host, beers in hand, but watching them whisper and nudge, Zacky's hand on Riley's knee, ignited a fire I couldn't quench. That night, alone in bed, I tossed, images assaulting me, their mouths meeting, bodies entwined. Tears burned, hot and shameful. How could I begrudge him normalcy when my desires were monstrous? The crisis brewed at Thanksgiving. With Dad estranged and Mom distant, we hosted a makeshift feast. Friends from work, Zacky's art class, even Riley. The loft buzzed with laughter, turkey scent mingling with pumpkin pie, but I felt unmoored, nursing a whiskey in the corner. Zachary shone, carving the bird with flourish, his eyes catching mine across the room, a private smile that twisted the knife. Later, as plates cleared, Riley pulled him aside for a dance in the living room, slow and swaying to some indie playlist. Their foreheads touched, and something in me snapped. I slipped out to the balcony, the cold biting, breath visible. Footsteps followed Zachary, concern etching his face. You okay? You've been weird all night. I gripped the railing, knuckles white. Just tired. He stepped closer, hand on my arm. Talk to me, Eli. Please. The plea undid me, words tumbling. Seeing you with him. It hurts. More than it should. Silence stretched, his grip tightening. Why? The question hung, loaded. I met his gaze, the city a blur. Because I stopped, the confession choking. He searched my face, realization dawning slow, then wide-eyed. Eli, you mean? Before I could retreat, he closed the gap, lips brushing mine tentative, testing. Fireworks exploded, the world narrowing to his taste, his sigh. But reality crashed. Aini pulled back, horrified. We can't. You're my brother. Hurt flashed in his eyes. Raw? Is that all I am? He stormed inside, leaving me in the cold, the kiss a brand on my soul. The fallout lingered like smoke. Days passed in strained silence, him avoiding my eyes, me burying in work. Riley became a fixture, their dates announced casually, each one a gut punch. I threw myself into designs, late nights at the office, but sleep brought dreams of what would almost crossed. One evening, I came home to find him packing a duffel, staying at Riley's for a bit. Need space. His voice was even, but pain laced it. Zach, wait. We need to talk. He paused, bag slung over shoulder. About what? The fact that you kissed me back, then called it wrong. The accusation landed true, and he left, door clicking shut like a verdict. Alone, the loft echoed empty, his sketches mocking from the walls. I called out sick the next day, wandering the markets, buying his favorite apples just in case. Texts went unread, worry festering. By nightfall, panic set in. What if had chosen Riley for good, left me in the ruins of my silence? I drove to Riley's place in Ballard, a converted warehouse pulsing with bass from a party. Peering through windows, I saw them, Zachary laughing, Riley's arm around his waist, but his eyes distant, scanning the crowd. Our gazes locked through glass, and he excused himself, stepping out into the drizzle. What are you doing here? Rain slicked his hair, vulnerability stark. I couldn't. I miss you. Us. He crossed arms, shivering. You pushed me away. Tears mixed with rain on his cheeks. Because I love you, Zach. Not like a brother. Like everything. The words freed me, terrifying. He stared, then surged forward, kissing me fierce under the streetlight, hands fisting my jacket. Me too. God, Eli, me too. We stumbled to my car, the drive home a blur of stolen touches, confessions whispered over the engine hum. In the loft, clothes shed like inhibitions, bodies finally aligning in the bed we'd shared platonically. His skin under my palms, gasps in my ear. It was revelation. The love we'd denied, blooming violent and sweet. But as we lay tangled after, his head on my chest, doubt crept. What now? The world won't understand. I kissed his forehead. Well, figure it. Together. Yet the high crashed with dawn. A call from Mom, checking in, her voice warm but probing. Heard from your father. He's struggling. Mentioned Zachary. The implication hung, and later, when Dad texted coordinates for a meet in Tacoma, neutrality laced with threat, the conflict loomed. We dressed in silence, the afterglow tainted. We go. We face it, Zachary said, resolve hardening his jaw. I nodded, but fear coiled tight. Loving him meant war, and I wasn't sure we could win. The drive to Tacoma sliced through Seattle's sprawl into quieter suburbs, the highway flanked by evergreens heavy with mist, a fitting shroud for the confrontation ahead. Zachary sat shotgun, knee bouncing, his fingers drumming a nervous rhythm on the window. I glanced over, his profile tense, the morning light catching the bruise of sleeplessness under his eyes. Last night's passion lingered in the air between us, a charged undercurrent that made every shift in his seat send heat through me, but guilt tempered it. We were crossing into territory where love could destroy as easily as it healed, and Harlan's summons felt like the first strike. "Don't let him get to you," I said, hand on his thigh, squeezing reassurance. He covered it with his own, thumb tracing circles. Easier said. He's my dad, Eli. Still, the word carried the weight of Montana memories. Endless fields, Harlan's rough hands teaching us to rope calves, the rare praise that felt like sunlight. Before the drinking, before Mom, before us. We pulled into the diner parking lot, a relic of Route 66 vibes plunked into P&W, neon sign flickering, Thorns welcome in ironic cruelty. Inside, the place smelled of grease and coffee, booths cracked vinyl under fluorescent hum. Harlan waited in the back, broader than I remembered, face weathered like old leather, eyes bloodshot. He stood as we approached, clapping my shoulder hard, then hesitating at Zachary, settling for a nod. "Boys." We slid in opposite, menus ignored, the waitress mercifully slow. Harlan cut straight. "Heard you're shacked up in the city. Good for you, Elias. But you, Zach, that lifestyle, it's a phase, right? Shake it off, come home. Ranch needs hands." Zachary's jaw clenched, fork twisting napkin. "It's not a phase, Dad. It's me." Harlan's laugh barked, hollow. "Bull, you're a thorn. We don't bend that way." I leaned forward, voice low. "He's happy. Leave it." But Harlan fixed on me, suspicion narrowing. "You enabling this? Blood's thicker, son." The irony burned, our secret pulsing unspoken. Zachary stood abruptly. "I'm done." He stormed out, and I followed, Harlan calling after, "Think on it." In the car, Zachary fumed, tears hot. "He's blind. Always was." I pulled him close over console, kissing salt from his lips. "He's wrong. You're perfect." The drive back was fraught, hands wandering when traffic slowed, a stolen blowjob at a rest stop that left us breathless, guilty. Home, we collapsed into bed, bodies seeking solace, but sleep brought nightmares. Harlan's rage, society's judgment. Winter gripped Seattle, holidays a minefield. We strung lights in the loft, baked cookies to old recipes, but Riley's texts persisted, friendly check-ins that Zachary answered politely, hiding them from me. Insecurity festered. Was our love enough against the world? One night, post-shift, he came home late, lips swollen, claiming a fall. Doubt poisoned me, leading to a fight. "Are you seeing him?" He recoiled. "Jealous?" After pushing me away, truths spilled his confusion, my hypocrisy, and he slept on the couch, rift widening. Healing started small, a joint therapy session via app, a counselor in Chicago specializing in queer family dynamics. "Boundaries blur in trauma," she said. We learned to name the love without shame, but external pressures mounted. Work gossip at my firm, a colleague spotting us at a queer bar, whispers of brothers. Zachary's art show loomed, his pieces raw with our story veiled in abstraction. Riley showed, supportive, and I swallowed pride, thanking him. But betrayal brewed when I found Zachy's journal, entries confessing temptation, Riley's easy. Eli's everything, but terrifying. Confrontation exploded that night, journal thrust forward. "Trust me." Hurt Ward with anger. He wept. I was scared. We both are. We clawed back, nights of raw talks by the fire escape, rebuilding on honesty. But climax built. Dad's ultimatum arrived, a letter disowning Zachary unless he straightened, with ranch deeds as bait. Crisis peaked when Zachary, drunk on cheap wine, proposed running Montana, new names, escape. "Be free with me." I wavered, love versus loss. Spring thawed the city, cherry blossoms dusting streets, mirroring our tentative bloom. We chose fight over flight, planning a road trip to confront Harlan, therapy tools in arsenal. En route, stops in Portland, nights in motels where love felt infinite. But arrival shattered, ranch in decay, Harlan broken, a bottle in hand. "You came to gloat." "No." We sat by the fire pit, stars vast, truths pouring. "We love each other," Zachary said, hand in mine. Harlan recoiled, but grief softened him. "Lost you both long ago." Not lost, forgiven, tentatively. Back in Seattle, scars lingered, but growth rooted. Zachary's show sold out, pieces fetching bids, Riley toasting us as friends. Our love deepened, cautious, exploring edges in hidden ways. Yet doubt whispered, could it last? Summer heat wave baked Seattle, an anomaly turning the bay to steam, mirroring the fever in our veins as Zachary and I navigated the fragile architecture of our bond. The loft windows stayed open, fans whirring futilely, sheets tangled from nights where sleep was secondary to exploration. His body under mine became map and memory, each curve learned in moonlight, but dawn brought the weight. Mirrors reflecting brothers, not lovers, and the world's unyielding gaze. We thrived in isolation, picnics in Green Lake, bodies slick in the water, but venturing out meant code switching, hands dropping at familiar faces. Zachary's art career ignited, a gallery in Pioneer Square offering a solo show, veiled kin, abstracts of intertwined forms that screamed our story to those who listened. Critics praised the emotional depth, but one review sliced. Incestuous undertones mar the intimacy. The word spread, whispers at openings, eyes lingering too long. He laughed it off publicly, but home, he shattered a canvas, sobs racking. Is that all they see? Monsters? I held him, whispering. They see genius afraid of truth. But fear seated, our sanctuary cracking. Betrayal struck from within when Mom visited, her Portland chic clashing with our lived-in chaos. Over wine on the balcony, she cornered me. I know, Elias. The way you look at him. It's wrong. Her words, delivered with pained love, echoed Dad's venom. Zachary overheard, bursting in furious. You too? After everything. She cried, hugging us both. I want you safe. This could destroy you. The visit ended in icy goodbye, her parting gift a therapist's card, but the rift deepened our isolation. Crisis crested at Pride, Seattle's streets a riot of color and chant, rainbow flags snapping in breeze. We marched, hands linked defiantly, but a protest splintered into shouts, counter voices hurling slurs. Freak brothers, one yelled, and Zachary froze, grip bruising. I shielded him, pushing through, but home, he unraveled. We're poison. Panic clawed. I knelt, vowing, never. We're survival. That night, love turned desperate, bodies bruising in affirmation, but mourning brought resolve. Therapy intensified, boundaries redrawn for public, private unleashed. Healing wove through autumn rains, joint classes at the Y, yoga poses mirroring our tangle. Zachary's confidence bloomed, a commission from a queer nonprofit, Murals of Chosen Family. I designed their promo, our talents entwining professionally, blurring lines further. Yet conflict simmered with Riley, who confessed lingering feelings over coffee I hosted awkwardly. He's different with you. But if? Zachary shut it down, loyal, but the what-if haunted, testing trust. Climax erupted Thanksgiving redux, Harlan arriving unannounced, sober 6 months, eyes clear but haunted. Dinner tense, turkey carving symbolic. He watched us, the subtle lean, the shared glance. I get it now. Lost my way, pushed you to this. Apology hung, but then, doesn't make it right. Blood's blood. Zachary's fork clattered. Your hate made us this. Own it. Harlan left, doors slamming, but seeds planted forgiveness possible, yet conditional. Winter solstice brought pivot. Zachary proposed therapy retreat in the Cascades, cabin isolation. Snow blanketed, fires crackling, we stripped emotionally, recounting origins. First felt it at 16, he admitted, you defending me from bullies. I confessed earlier, Mom leaving, him my anchor. Love making snow soft, revelations healing fractures. Back in city, empowered, we came out selectively friends first, reactions mixed but supportive. Gallery buzzed, veiled kin retrospective. But undercurrent pulled. Harlan's health scare, collapse from liver strain, hospital call midnight. We flew Montana, ranch stark under snow. Bedside, he gripped Zachary's hand. Proud son, love you both. Deathbed truth, release. Grief bonded us deeper, funeral small, ashes scattered fields. Return flight, Zachary slept on my shoulder, peace settling. Spring renewal, adoption papers? No, but legal wills naming each other, legacies intertwined. Art and design fused in collab project, Queer Youth Center. Love matured, less fever, more foundation. Yet whispers persisted, a tabloid hint from Pride the struggle eternal. As summer waned into golden September, Seattle exhaled, the heat wave yielding to balmy evenings alive with fairy horns and street musicians. Zachary and I had carved a rhythm, Mornings tangled in sheets before he dashed to studio sessions. Afternoons me sketching at cafes while he texted progress pics. Evenings merging worlds in the loft with wine and whispered plans. Our love, once a wildfire, smoldered steady, but the embers glowed with questions. How long could we dance on this knife edge before the world demanded payment? Harlan's death had sealed old wounds, but fresh ones festered from exposure. A viral tweet from that Pride heckler gaining traction, painting us as scandal. We ignored it at first, focusing on the Queer Center Project, our mural, and branding a beacon for youth like Zachary once was. Paint splattered days on scaffolding, his laughter echoing as we daubed colors, bodies close in harnesses, felt like defiance. "This is us," he said one dusk. Roller paused, paint flecking his lashes. I kissed him there, public but tucked in alley shadow, heart soaring. But home, scrolling feeds, the hate piled. Incest freaks ruining pride. Zachary's hand trembled on mouse. Block it all. I did, pulling him to bed, love a bulwark. Betrayal blindsided via mom, who, post-visit, had confided in her book club, tales leaking to local Portland rags. A call came, her voice quavering, didn't mean. They twisted it. Fury boiled. Zachary hung up, pacing. Family curse. I mediated, driving south unannounced, confronting her in her sunlit kitchen. You exposed us. Tears streamed. Feared losing you to silence. Raw exchange, boundaries reset, no more leaks or distance permanent. She agreed, hugging fierce, but trust frayed. Crisis ignited at the center unveiling, crowds swelling with supporters, flashbulbs popping. Midway speech, Zachary faltering on stage, a protester surged, sign thrusting, perverted brothers. Chaos erupted, security hauling, but damage done. Zachary bolting backstage, hyperventilating. I found him curled in storage, shaking. Can't breathe. They're right. Panic attack gripped, my arms anchor as I coached breaths, therapist lines mantra. You're enough. We're enough. Medics came, sedatives mild, but night in ER stripped us bare, monitors beeping accusations. Healing path wound through intensified counseling, group sessions with queer survivors, stories mirroring ours. Taboo doesn't define, one shared, and Zachary nodded, sketching their pain in margins. Physically, we explored gentler, tantric books guiding slow touches, reconnecting beyond frenzy. Fall foliage tour, Olympic Peninsula drives, cabins where words flowed freer. Want kids someday, he mused by campfire. Adopt maybe. Teach him love defies labels. Dream seated, future tangible. Yet conflict renewed with Riley's return. Job loss sending him couch surfing our way. Temporary, he swore, but eyes on Zachary lingered. Tension simmered, late-night beers turning confessional. One evening, I returned early, finding them laughing close on couch, Riley's hand on knee. Jealousy flared. I stormed out, walking waterfront till dawn. Zachary followed, dawn breaking. Nothing happened. He's friend. But doubt confessed. Sometimes wonder if normalcy suits you better. Heartbreak raw, you pulled me close. Normalcy's cage. You're home. Climax crested New Year's, party at loft with allies, countdown ticking. Fireworks burst, but so did argument. Riley drunk, slurring, head be happier straight. Zachary shoved, I intervened, brawl spilling to street. Cops came, warnings issued, Riley banished. Alone after, bloodied lip kissed, we vowed, no more outsiders testing. Resolution hardened, love forged in fire. Winter wrapped gentle, snow rare, but magical, fort building in living room like kids, adult twists. Zachary's book deal landed, memoir veiled as fiction, our story catharsis. I illustrated, faces abstracted but souls bare. Launch party intimate, mom attending, tentative bridge. Readings emotional, audience tears mirroring ours. Spring surge, center thrived, youth testimonials gratitude. We volunteered, mentoring, seeing reflections heal our scars. Trip to Vermont, mom's cabin, family redefined. Harlan's old friend visited, sharing letters of pride, unspoken in life. Closure layered. But underbelly stirred. Legal query, distant relative contesting will over moral clause. Fight loomed, lawyers consulted, but unity steeled us. Love evolved, rings exchanged private, commitment wordless but iron. By midsummer, the city pulsed with festivals, Seattle's pride swelling into Fringe Week, stages alive with queer narratives that both inspired and exhausted us. Zachary's memoir, Shadows Entwined, hit shelves, climbing indie lists, its pages a tapestry of veiled truths that readers devoured, speculating wildly. Interviews pulled him into spotlight, his hazel eyes steady on camera, voice measured. Love finds us where it will. Acceptance is the journey. I watched from wings, pride swelling, but anxiety nipped. Each probe risked unveiling. Our loft became bunker again, blinds drawn, but passion reignited, bodies mapping new territories in afterglow talks of escape. A sabbatical in Oregon coast, writing retreat. The betrayal this round was self-inflicted, my fault. A design conference in LA beckoned, networking gold, but leaving Zachary amid book tour felt abandonment echo. I went, promising daily calls, but jet lag and schmoozing blurred lines. A flirtation with a colleague, innocent drinks turning handsy in hotel bar. Nothing happened, but guilt gnawed. Photo leaked online, arm around the guy, captioned, Thorn brother trades taboo for taste. Zachary saw, tour stop in Chicago, call exploding. Who is he? After everything. Voice breaking, trust shattered. I flew back mid-con, airport confession tear-streaked. Stupid mistake. You're it. He forgave slow, nights separate, rebuilding through letters slipped under door, poetry of remorse. Crisis peaked autumn, memoir backlash cresting. Conservative outlet doxed us, address posted, hate mail flooding. Threats scrawled, end it or we will. Police report filed, loft secured, but fear paralyzed. Zachary canceling readings, sketching dark voids. I quit firm, freelancing home, shield duty. One night, rock through window, glass shattering like resolve. We fled to mom's temporarily, Portland refuge, but isolation bred cabin fever, arguments flaring. This love's curse. No, world's the poison. Therapy virtual, breakthrough in EMDR, reliving mom leaving, dad's rage, reframing as strength. Healing bloomed winter, cross-country train to Vermont, snowy idle at aunts, mom's sister, ally quiet. Cabin days wood chopping, nights stargazing bundled, stories swapped with locals of hidden loves. Zachary started novel, sci-fi twist on brothers in dystopia, catharsis coded. I photographed, portfolio shifting to fine art, our faces blurred but intimate. Return spring, security upgraded, but empowerment grew. Public statement co-authored, vulnerability weapon. Our story yours. Hate loses to heart. Conflict layered with legacy. Harlan's will contested by cousin, Montana court dragging, alleging immoral influence. Testimony raw, us on stand, judge's gaze heavy. Zachary's poise shone, words steady. Love healed what hate broke. Victory narrow, ranch sold, proceeds to queer youth fund, triumph bittersweet, ghosts laid. Climax roared summer solstice, festival stage invite for reading. Crowd electric, but mid-poem, Riley interrupts, mic snatched. He's lying. I was there, it's abuse. Lies twisted, planted by doxers. Gasps rippled, security dragged, but damage viral. Zachary froze. I pulled him off, green room collapse. Believe me, he whispered. Always. Press conference next day, truth torrent. Riley's grudge, our authenticity. Backlash flipped, support surging, book sales spiked. Healing deepened fall, couples retreat in Montana. Ironic pilgrimage, ranch echoes now peace. Guided hikes, sweat lodges purging, love renewed primal under big sky. Back, center expansion, our names etched donor wall. Zachary's TEDx talk, taboo as teacher, views millions, ripples global. Yet crisis whispered, fertility dreams surfaced, adoption agency rejection veiled, family structure concerns. Heartbreak raw, clinic visits for options, but ethics tangled. Biological tie too close, counselor said. Pivot to surrogacy abroad. Or acceptance child-free, mentoring legacy? Winter wrapped resolute, holiday with mom and allies, table full. Rings upgraded, simple bands worn open now, commitment public. Novel draft finished, epigraph our hook, realization in rain. Spring forward, court win full, fun launched. Love, tested, unyielding. As the year cycled to its rainy genesis, Seattle mirrored our tempered storm. Showers brief, sun breaking through, much like the clarity wet earned. Zachary's novel, Echoes Unbound, secured publisher, launch planned for spring, its narrative a bold leap. Brothers in alternate world, love unbound by blood, humanity's core. My photography exhibit paired, intimate frames, portraits of him veiled in light, eyes portals to soul. Together, we stepped bolder, hands linked at events, narratives owned. brothers, lovers, survivors. The final betrayal was subtle, internal. Zachary's doubt resurgence post-rejection, Knight's staring ceiling. Are we selfish? Denying him normal? Him meaning hypothetical child, but echo of self. I listened, heart aching, countering with visions, travels, art legacies, love sufficient. Therapy honed, exercises affirming, lists of joys, morning coffee shared, trail runs laughing, bodies synced in dance classes. One dawn, post-argument tears, he clung. You're my normal. Forgive the fear. Embrace sealed, doubt dissolved in sunlight. Crisis finale crested equinox, novel leak online, spoilers twisting plot to sensationalize. Media frenzy, accusations plagiarism from life, but we preempted. Joint interview NPR, voices steady, humor-laced. Fiction freeze what memoir caged. Listeners resonated, backlash muted, sales presold. Personally, health scare mine. Routine check flagging heart murmur, stress echo. Hospital vigil, Zachary's hand anchor, vows renewed. Whatever, together. Clean bill after, relief catalyzing life audit. Downsizing loft to Belltown studio, closer community, fresher start. Healing culminated harvest moon, Montana return, fund ribbon cutting. Youth ranch, Harlan's legacy redeemed. Kids arrived, eyes wide, our story's mentors. Zachary taught drawing circles. I led design workshops, seeing futures we shaped. Evening campfire is head on shoulder, stars witnesses. This is redemption. Climax resolved quiet. Anniversary marking realization night. Rainy walk pier, recreating. Words echoed. I'd do anything. Kiss deepened, commitment etched. No grand gesture, but profound. Adoption pivot to fostering. Agency greenlight for unique families. First placement tentative, but hope bloomed. Through winter chill to spring thaw, we thrived. Novel acclaim. Exhibit sellout. Foster kid arriving summer. A teen mirroring young Zachary. Healing chain. Love, once crisis, now compass. Dramatic in passion, emotional in depths, romantic in glances, humanistic in grace. In the end, realization wasn't moment but odyssey, from storm to steady light, proving love, unbound, redeems all.